Hi, it's Sarah from South Fayette Township Library, and today I'd like to recommend two New York Times best-selling novels from American author Paula McLain. Both are works of historical fiction, and they've also been categorized as biographical fiction. The first one is The Paris Wife. The Paris Wife is about the relationship between Hadley Richardson and Ernest Hemingway. Hadley Richardson was Ernest Hemingway's first wife, and the story is told from her point of view. As a young bride, she moves to Paris with her husband while he pursues his dream of becoming a famous writer. Hadley and Ernest have a strong bond. We get to learn what it's like for them to move in literary circles with people like Gertrude Stein, Ezra Pound, James Joyce, and F. Scott Fitzgerald. Even though their bond is strong, it's challenged often by Ernest Hemingway's self-centeredness, his moodiness, his penchant for fighting, his excessive drinking, his lack of interest in being a father to their son, his womanizing, and ultimately his affair with her best friend Pauline. When Ernest Hemingway writes his book, The Sun Also Rises, he dedicated it to Hadley and their son, but shortly after, Hadley asked Ernest Hemingway for a divorce. And the book chronicles what her life was like. She married another man, a journalist, who she stayed married to for 35 years or more before he died in 1971. It also lets us know how Hadley felt when she learned that Ernest Hemingway had ended his life in 1961. I think this is a beautifully written book. There's a lot to talk about. You feel like you're right there in Paris in the 1920s, and you learn a lot about Ernest Hemingway. The second book is called Circling the Sun, and this book is about Beryl Markham. She is known as the first person to fly solo across the Atlantic from England to North America. And this book is about her childhood. She grew up in colonial British East Africa in the 1920s. This book tells you how her father raised her, because her mother left her in Africa when she was only 4 years old, and how that impacted her personality and her feelings. She went on to have many relationships with men that were not successful. She was in Africa at the same time as Karen Blixen and Dennis Fitch-Hatton. You may recognize those names from the movie Out of Africa, and Karen Blixen wrote as Isak Dinesen. Paula McLain proposes in this book that maybe there was a love triangle between Beryl Markham, Karen Blixen, and Dennis Fitch-Hatton. It's a very well-written, interesting book, and Paula McLain describes Africa in its beautiful landscape and what it was like to live there in the 1920s as well. I hope you enjoy one of Paula McLain's books. Thank you so much. Stay well and have a great week.